How's it going? All right, I am getting ready to leave my motel in Lake Havasu City. I really wasn't planning on coming to Lake Havasu, but it kind of worked out that way because I needed some supplies. As I told you, I'm going to scoot down in here so I try to get my whole. Yeah. I've got this sitting on my steering wheel because I don't have anywhere else to put it right now. I can't find my holder. I put it in here somewhere, but I got too much crap in here. Anyway, I would have liked to have stayed in Blythe area, but as I told you in the previous video, my tent got shredded. So I'm going to try to do like Debbie said and try to set this up to where I can sleep in my vehicle. I did get one of those privacy, because the only thing I was thinking, okay, well, what if I need to go to the bathroom? How's that going to work? Being in the back of my Explorer. So I did buy another one of those privacy shelters. I had one of those when I camped over in California, but the wind was so bad that it just ended up knocking it down. This one, I don't know if it's any better. I got it at Walmart in Parker. Yeah, I'm going to try that because I really don't have any other options. I could have bought another tent, but the one that would work was about $200. And so it's like, I really don't want to spend that much. And plus, too, I want to try to get this set up to where I don't have to unload and load a bunch of crap every time that I stop somewhere. I saw how one guy set it up, and he suggested not having a platform, but having half the vehicle, your sleeping area, and then have bins stacked on your other side. So I did have some smaller bins that I bought and wasted my money on, but they just slid all over the place and they wouldn't work. That's why I bought the dry bags, because I could stack them without them sliding. But I wanted to try to get maybe 3 of those larger bins, throw stuff in them to where I can, load them up and then stack them on one side of the vehicle and then sleep on the other side. That's my plan anyway. So we'll see if that works out or not. But anyway, I'm getting ready to head out and go up to Walmart here and get me a few of those bins. There's also this awning that I want to get that I can hook to the vehicle so I can have some shade, because I really don't want to be sitting out in the sun all day. So I found the perfect one, I think, and this again is at Walmart. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to get some bins. I'm going to get a tarp to, whatever I do have to put outside the vehicle, at least I can cover up with the tarp, keep it from blowing away, keep it dry. And hopefully I can get the right kind of setup. It makes me kind of wish I hadn't wasted the money on an air mattress, because that's definitely not going to work in the Explorer. But if it doesn't work and I end up getting another tent, I can always put that in there. So, trial and error, I end up spending a lot more money than I want to spend, that's for sure. But hopefully this will work out where I can sleep in the Explorer. And I did that when I was in Show Low, but I had to dump everything out of the vehicle in order to do that, and then it was a pain in the butt loading everything back up. So I want to try to get some bins, and hopefully those will work. And we'll just see how it goes. Like say trial and error. I know I can sleep in the back of the Explorer as I've done it before. It's just a matter of having enough room. But I like to set it up. I've watched a lot of videos on how people have their stuff set up, but I don't have the money, the resources to set it up. A lot of people have it set up. They've got little cabinets and stuff that they've built. And, the one guy, he was in a, what was it? It was an SUV, a little bit bigger than this one. And he had it set up to where he slept on one side, had the bins stacked on the other side. That's how he suggested doing it. So that would be the easiest way to do it if I can make it work. So anyway, I'm going to take off from here. It's a little bit before 11 o'clock. Take off and go up to Walmart. And then I think I'm going to go up to Havasu Heights, which is a little bit north of where I camped last time, but it's still like 5-6 miles from Walmart. I thought about going over on the California side, but I just don't really want to go that far away right now. I may end up going there in the next couple of days, but right now I just don't feel like doing that. If I can find a place. The one thing about sleeping in the vehicle is there's a lot more options where I can camp. I can just pull in somewhere and, once I get everything loaded to where I've got it stacked on one side and don't have to unload the vehicle every time I stop somewhere. I'm going to have to unload some today. There's just, and see how that works. Like I say, it's trial and error right now. So that's what I'm going to try. And like I say, I know I can sleep in the back of this. I did it for, a couple weeks there at Sholo. So we'll see how that works. We'll try it. And I'll be updating you. So anyway, I'm going to head up to Walmart right now, go get what I need to get, spend more money that I can't really afford, but I've got to do something, I've got to do something. So anyway, we shall talk to you later. Hey, it is Saturday morning, right around 9 o'clock, I think. I'm not sure. It could be 10. It could be 10:30. I'm not sure what time it is. Oh, I didn't sleep well last night at all. I tried the idea of... I got my heavy coat on because you go outside, the wind's blowing just enough to where it's like freezing but cold. But I am at a campsite, if you want to call it that, what they call Havasu Heights, which I like a lot better than the one I was at last year, which is down the road about a couple miles. I'm still not too far. I'm only about, maybe 6 miles from Walmart. Kind of in the same area I camped at last year, but I like this a lot better. Although it's been freaking cold and windy, and it's like, man, that's all I've dealt with is the freaking wind. It's just, I'm just like I say, I'm about half dead because I didn't get much sleep last night at all. I tried sleeping in the back of the Explorer, and, I got another camping pad, which isn't nearly as nice as the one that I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't think I needed my other one, so I donated it to Goodwill. Stupid, but whatever. So I got an Ozark Trail one, which isn't nearly as good, not even remotely close. And it's like you got the back part, and then you got where the middle back seats are down, and there's like this big hump. And I don't know how I did it last year, but man, last night it was like I could kind of get a little bit comfortable sleeping on my side where it wasn't gouging me in the back. But I woke up, I don't know how many times, because I was just uncomfortable. And I'm really, really tempted to go and get me another tent because it's like, but I want to try to make this work. So I decided to try sleeping in the back another night. I'm going to try to improvise a little bit. And I've got a couple of bags of dirty clothes. I need to do laundry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fill up the holes and then put the sleeping pad on top of that, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more streamlined and not quite as uncomfortable. Because last night I was not comfortable at all, and I tried stuffing my air mattress in here and blowing it up a little bit, and man, that was a nightmare. I was like pumping all over the place. I couldn't, and I was still ended up that it was like pumped up on the sides and in the middle where I was laying. I was still laying on the floor of the, on top of the seats. So it basically did me no good at all. So anyway, but I'm gonna try it for another night, and if I have another night tonight like I had last night, screw it. I'm gonna just go get me another tent. Even though I really don't have the money, I've got to do something. I can't keep just being miserable night after night after night. And so I'm gonna have to load. I had to unload everything from the back, to get my air mattress in there, which was a waste of time. So now I've got to load everything back up. I had a Forest Ranger or BLM Ranger or whatever stopped by yesterday, and because I was sitting in here getting out of the wind, and he saw all my stuff back there on the tarp. I have it all on a tarp back there. And he stopped by and he goes, "Oh, okay. I just making sure there's somebody here. I saw all the stuff back there." And I explained to him, that wasn't my original plan, but that's what he ended up having to do because. Anyway, we had a really good conversation, and we had talked for about a half hour or so. He was a pretty cool guy. He wasn't like that dickhead over in Sholo, who was on a power trip. This guy was a pretty cool guy. And so we talked, and I told, I mentioned to him that I was an ex-cop and stuff like that. And so we had a pretty good rapport. But, I'm right by the highway here. I'm just off the highway. I'll show you here in a second. I'll turn the camera around and take some footage for you and show you where I'm camping right now. But it was pretty noisy. But the sound of the traffic really doesn't bother me. Because I'm right off Highway 95 here. In fact, if you go further up another few miles, you're at the place where there's Pilot and I can never remember the other place. There's a Pilot station, and there's like a Flying J or something across the street. I don't remember what it is. But there's two truck stops. They're right across the street from each other. Then there's like a Wendy's, and I used to go there to get stuff when I was camping over in California side, where I had ended up having to leave my good tent because I didn't know I was having problems with my gallbladder. All I knew is I just had no energy and felt just like death warmed over. And so anyway, like I said, I hadn't really planned on coming back to Lake Havasu. I wanted to stay south, but when my tent got shredded, I had no tent to sleep in, and I had no sleeping pad, no nothing, and there wasn't anywhere around Blythe to get any of that stuff. So I figured, well, I'll go to Parker. Well, Parker only had part of the stuff that I needed, so I ended up having to come up here. And as it turns out, there's a lot worse places I could be than Lake Havasu City. And the weather is going to be pretty nice for a while. It's like it's barely going to be, I did looked at the 10-day forecast, and it's like in the mid 60s to low 70s, and we're talking like 70, 71, 72 is the highest it's going to get, then drop back down in the 60s. So, that's pretty, it would be a lot better if the wind would quit blowing. But I don't know if the wind ever quits blowing here. I remember last year I had a lot of wind over in the other place. But I was inside of a nice big tent where the wind didn't bother me. But last night I didn't have any problem staying warm at all, even though it was kind of cold when I got from underneath the covers. But there's a car hauler with a Amazon Prime truck, delivery truck on the back of it. So it's kind of like, well, I don't see that very often. So, yeah, like I say, I'm just off 95 here, so there's a lot of traffic coming by here because it's the main route, going up I-40. And so, yeah, I've been on a lot of different interstates that I'm not used to being on. I was on I-8, down around Yuma, and then when I was down Blythe, it was I-10, and just up the road is I-40, which is what I went last year. When I left here, I went I-40 over to my property, or what was going to be my property that is no longer my property now, because I told them I didn't want it after visiting it, and it's just not workable. So I'm going to stay here. Like, there's 3 or 4 places around here I can camp, and I can even go back over on the California side and camp over where I camped last year, which I may end up doing that because I really like that area. That was pretty nice. The only problem is it's like so far away from everything. It's like here, at least, within 10 minutes, I can make it to Walmart, and within 15 minutes, I can be downtown Lake Havasu City, to get whatever supplies I need or whatever. But most everything I can just get at Walmart, like my water and stuff like that. So I'm going to stay here. I thought last night I was going to load everything up, go into Walmart, get me a tent. But it's like, well, I really don't want to have to buy another tent and go through setting it up and all that. I think I'm going to try to get some more storage bins and try to set this up. If I can somehow finagle things, to where when I lay down, it's comfortable and I'm not just, things gouging me in the back and stuff like that. And the nice thing about Lake Havasu, too, is I have 5 full bars of 5G here. So that's a big plus compared to, camping down around Yuma. It was like, even at Cibola, there was one day I only had 2 bars and couldn't get YouTube, couldn't get anything to work. Plus all the wind and sand and dirt and it was just, at first I thought it was a great place to camp, but that was like for the first day and a half. Then after that, it was horrible. Just wind and dirt. Everything was covered with an inch of dirt. Whereas here, you don't have that problem. There's more rocks and, it's different, but you get a little bit of dust and stuff like that, but not like it was at Cibola at all. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend, camping at Cibola unless you're in an RV. If you're in a tent, forget it. It just doesn't work. Here's fine. Even though there's like one other person in a tent around here. But they've also got an RV there too. And the tent's outside the RV, so I don't know. I don't have the RV. But if I did, the thing is, if I could set this up to where I can sleep in the back I can go into some areas, like forested areas and stuff like that I'd be a little bit dubious about sleeping in the tent, but I wouldn't be so dubious about sleeping in the back of this. I'd be a little bit more protected in case there was any bears or mountain lions or whatever. But I'm going to try to work it out. I'm going to try to make it so I can sleep in the back of this. Try to set it up the best I can. I might try getting a hold of some salvage yards that are looking for like seats out of a Ford Explorer and have them take my seats out, and then go to a lumber yard or whatever and get a piece of plywood I can lay across the back there, and where I can stack some bins on one side and have my bed on the other side. And yeah. Well, we'll see. See what I can work out or whatever. But I just don't want to. I'm trying to figure what that is. If that's a train or what that is over there. Well, anyway, let me grab some footage of the area around here just to let you see where I'm camping. All right. It's probably going to be a little windy out here. You're going to hear some wind. So I got all my stuff piled back here out of the back on the tarp. I got my table set up over here. See where I had my coffee this morning. It's very windy out here. But this is where I'm camping. That rig up there just pulled in there about 10 minutes ago. But you can see I'm like right by the highway here. So not so much traffic right now. It'll pick up as it gets later in the day. But this is where I'm camping. Not the greatest spot, but not the worst either. Get back in out of the wind. Anyway, that's really all I have to say for today. Just wanted to update you. And it'd really be nice if the wind had died down enough where I could sit in my chair outside and not be freezing my butt off. Because that wind is cold, let me tell you. So I'm going to try to work on the back here in a little bit and see if I can use my dirty clothes and stuff like that to kind of fill in the gaps and make it a little bit more comfortable to lay back there without having to mess with the air mattress, because that just didn't work at all. I ended up deflating it and just it was a nightmare. It was not a good night at all. So, I really wish I could afford a place. I don't like this camping stuff, It's especially at my age, it's a lot to deal with. It really is. So be praying for me. I'm just really discouraged right now. But I'm just trying to make the best out of my situation, and hopefully things will improve. I don't quite know how, but you got to have hope, right? You got to have hope. So anyway, I'll talk to you later, people.